I gave it a lot of thought on how I would open up the inaugural episode of the Fat and Happy Show and what all I would do to start off this revolutionary new thing that I wanted to do. And to be quite honest, I got nothing. Because you want to know something? I could come out here and I could be all, woo, blah, blah, this is what we're going to do, and yada, yada. You'll learn what we're going to do as we go through the show, is what we're going to do. But this show is going to be different in the form of basically a late night talk show. If you've ever seen The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, absolutely loved that man. He had the perfect formula going, and then eventually CBS was just done with him, and then they brought James Corden into the picture, and it's not the same. It's not the same. I would love to have Craig Ferguson back, but I don't even think he wants to go back. So we're going to be the next best thing, and you're going to notice some similarities between the shows. But I'm very, very excited to do this, though, because no one has really ever done this before. No one's ever done a late night talk show on the YouTubes or the Spotify or the iTunes. I'm going to focus mainly on YouTube. I think that YouTube is going to be the main platform that I can really do this because it's going to have the video. But we're doing the audio as well. So I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this goes. And I'm kind of excited. But at the same time, I'm kind of keeping my expectations low down here. I mean, let's put it this way. Been on YouTube for over 10 years and the channel still hasn't taken off. So, yeah, you start out going, oh yeah, I'm going to be big and everything like that. And then eventually you come down here to where you're like, oh, here's life. Yeah, because life, like you could start out as a kid and you're like, oh my God, I want to be an astronaut. But then you realize that life happens, and then you got taxes, and you got college, and then you have reality sets in real fast with what you're able to do. And guess what? Majority of us can't be astronauts. Some of us can. They exist for a reason. But guess what? I'm not going to be the astronaut of YouTube. That's for freaking sure. But I'm excited to see how this takes off, because I would like to at least inspire someone to do it right. I want to see if I could do it right. I think I could do it right, but I'm probably going to fail. You want to know something? I don't even have a co-host on this show. It's just me. My co-host right now is gone. So we're going to go ahead and basically, if I had commercials or if I had the proper intro, this is where I would insert, but this is the end of the intro. Let's go ahead and go to my monologue. Let's go. Hello, welcome everyone to the Fat and Happy Show. Come on in. I'm your host, Basket24. Take off your pants and get a bowl of cereal. And let's hop on down and let's be fat and happy together, shall we? Because this show is all about just unwinding a little bit. We're going to just take life a little less seriously for one night a week. Fridays, 9 p.m. is what I'm aiming for. We'll see if I can pump it out at that time, but I think I can do it. We'll see how it all goes. If it turns out going on a Saturday or Sunday, just know I was being lazy is what it was. There's no, the internet was down or something like that. Odds are I was just being lazy and I didn't want to do it. Let's just cut to the shit. So, that's going. I still don't have a co-host yet, but hopefully he'll be here eventually. But today on the show, we're basically going to be we're going to have a recap. If you're familiar with the recap is coming back here onto this show. And then I also got an interview later today. It was actually pre-recorded from about a week ago because it's the only time I could book him. It's going to be Ben Hunter, which is one of my personal best friends. And I used to work with him back in the day. And he just, he's got a perspective of being a pastor's child, a children's pastor's child. Basically, one thing I want to do with the interviews on this show is celebrities aren't going to come on this show, okay? I will work out of my freaking house. It's not going to happen. Guess what? It's just not. There's no way I'm going to get Jim Carrey on here to talk about his new Sonic movie, okay? It's not going to happen. But what I can get is I can get people from around this community and bring them on to tell their little stories about their different life experiences. Because you want to know something? I guarantee you a lot of you probably don't understand what a pastor's kid has to go through and the difficulties of trying to be this perfect family and like the pressure that the kids are under because anything that they do instantly goes back and reflects on daddy. Okay, like just saying, that's not something you'd really think about. And I also have, if I can get him, a volunteer firefighter. I want to try and get him and his brother on the show, get an interview with them because they have some weird stories and stuff that you would not really think about with firefighting. But we'll go ahead and we'll get to that when we get to it. But for right now, that's kind of what the show is going to be about. We're going to go ahead and have the recap. If I don't have an interview, what I'll probably do is I'm going to probably have probably like a skit or something solo that I can handle. So I won't leave you guys busy with. I'm going to entertain you regardless. Weekly is what I'm going to try and do. We're going to try and do this weekly. Oh god, that's a dangerous word, freaking weekly. I wanted to do daily videos back in 2017, and that worked out fairly well for a little while, and then eventually it just went away, and I just kind of about it. And then 2018 was, and now 2019, I'm not doing too good on the video progress either. But you want to know something? When you live in your own house, you kind of run out of time to do things because you're working on the house more than you're working on this, which is very unfortunate. But hopefully this kind of sparks something coming back. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the show with a recap. And with the recap, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts actually filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And you want to know something? It's not a big surprise to me, okay? When we talk about the Boy Scouts, what do we think of? We think about like regular scouting and yada, 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 of course. But what do they sell? They sell popcorn, okay? I was a Boy Scout. I was a Cub Scout. I was a Boy Scout way back in the day. You wouldn't think of it looking at me, but you want to know something? I was. Did I make it all the way to Eagle Scout? Hell no. God, you think I would freaking look like this if I made it to Eagle Scout? God, you stupid. No, I did not make it to Eagle Scout. I got kind of close there towards the end. Probably could have done it if I wanted to, but I didn't. I didn't want to. Eventually, I came to my senses and realized the video games were a lot more fun than the real outdoors, and that's just goddamn truth. I like air conditioning a lot more than I like it outdoors. But they sell popcorn, okay? The popcorn is not the best way to make a profit for a freaking organization like that. I mean, popcorn, what can you do? You can go to the microwave and you can make popcorn easy in a minute and 45 seconds. I think that's what the popcorn button does, right? Maybe it's 2 minutes, 15 seconds. I don't know. The fact that I would know it's popcorn is 2:15 probably says a lot about me. But that's beyond the point. The fact is that making cookies is 10 times harder, and that's why the Girl Scouts are doing absolutely perfectly fine. We just can't, we're like right here on the tail end of Girl Scout cookie season, and it's a very, very sad thing. I still got plenty in my pantry. Don't worry, I'll be fine. I got plenty of the Thin Mints and the Thanks a Lot, so those things are so good. But that's besides the point. I think that they could have done something better than freaking popcorn, and the fact that the popcorn is freaking so expensive. I mean, for real. You could have done something else. I mean, I really have nothing off the top of my head, but try and make like a better cookie, if anything. I mean, for real. I mean, those Girl Scout cookies are freaking bomb. And no one can argue that. They can't. They just can't. But regardless, they're going down. Girl Scouts are winning. And I say, just well done, Girl Scouts. You guys did it. All right, now the coronavirus. Originally, when I first thinking about the show, I knew I was going to have to talk about the coronavirus eventually. Ooh, the coronavirus. But originally, the death toll was like, it was fine. And I still think it's okay. It's 2,100 right now is where we're at with the death toll. And that's pretty high. That's decent sized. But I mean, if you look at the big scheme of life, like I think the flu kills more people a year. So it's not like oh my god, it's the worst thing ever. Like it's named after an alcohol, for crying out loud. How scary is it? It's just because it's new that it's scary. I mean, we have freaking people getting quarantined all over the place. I freaking go get a flu shot if you're really paranoid about something. I think that we've seen what really happens with illnesses anymore, which H1N1 and the freaking like that swine flu is stupid. Like, the whole world was like, oh my god, we're all gonna die. Oh god, bird flu, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, I wasn't impacted at all. I think it made it to Indiana, but like, there was no one who really died here. It was just kind of stupid. It was just something blown completely out of proportion, because guess what? That is the world we live in, everybody. We live in a world where people will take something so small and they'll blow it completely out of proportion. Proportion. That word. But the real truth is, I mean, that's how memes work. They'll take a single image out of something and then they'll make 10,000 different types of memes out of it. You're taking something small and make it... That's how the internet works. But number 3 is something positive. The Sonic movie came out this week, and actually it would have been last week now, but it's absolutely doing great. We got a 94% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and then I think a 64% critic rating. The critics are way too tough on this. If the audience is liking it, the majority of the audience and the internet is actually liking this movie, that is huge. We're expecting this to be a bomb, and it's not a bomb. It's actually pretty good. And I'm really, really happy about that. And it's Jim Carrey's first movie in a long time, I feel like. I don't think that... Hello. I don't think there's any other movie that he's really done lately. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is like his comeback movie. And it's absolutely great. That is actually doing good. It's going to go ahead and kind of capture on a more mild... I haven't seen it yet. I think it's going to capture more on a mild... Ace Ventura type of thing, where it's going to be kind of wacky and zany, but kind of dulled down is from what I've seen from the previous, which is a good Jim Carrey. It's a very, very good Jim Carrey. And I'm very, very happy, and I'm really, really excited to see how the movie actually turns out. I don't want to go to movie theaters, and I'll kind of explain why I don't like movie theaters here and after a little bit. But I want to go ahead and do some weekly weird news as well in the recap, which we had a chihuahua that can't walk befriends a pigeon that can't fly. How do these two get together? It's just like, hey, let's take a bunch of crippled animals together and see what happens. And this dog and the pigeon got together. I don't know. It's absolutely adorable. It's cute. I'll try and put a video up or something. But I gotta keep in mind the Spotify people because they can't see it either. But then I also had an honorable mention. This didn't happen this week. It happened back in January. But I just found it funny. It was an extremely obese owl that was too fat to fly. And you want to know something? Ain't that a bitch? When your one purpose in life is literally flying so that way you can eat and you can't fly. Because you're too damn fat. The good news is that the people who found it, or like they brought it in, put it on a strict diet, and it's set to be re-released. But if I know anything about being fat, it's that you go right back unless you got a really good support team. And guess what? I don't think that the animal kingdom has that great of a support team. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But that is going to do it for this week's recap. If you have any weird, zany, wacky news, be sure to send it to me. I'll have some links in the description below as to where you can email me and blah, blah, blah. But for right now, I would say go ahead and at me at Batsky24 or at BoredomNation. I can't remember what my Twitter handle is, and that is unfortunate. So let me find it really quick. It is at Boredom_Nation. So if you want to tweet me at that or message me on there, that is where you can go ahead and send me all the stuff for all you Spotify people. But all the links will be in the description on YouTube, and that's what mainly matters. Because I think that the majority of the audience is probably going to be on YouTube. So, regardless. That's going to do it for the recap section, though. Here's where I would insert a commercial break, but I don't think we're really going to have commercial breaks. So, we're just going to cut, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, the one thing I would like to have on the show, but I don't know if it's really going to happen or not, because I've tried doing this in similar podcasts before, because I've been a part of so freaking many. I was part of like a Minecraft podcast, a Simply Awesome podcast, the Fat and Happy podcast, and the Fat and Happy podcast is officially dead. But I would like to have a Q&A session on here, like with weird and wacky questions, like that you just randomly think of. I got some examples here, and I'll go and run through them. I got 4 questions that I found on the internet, And we're going to go start off with, at a movie theater, which armrest is yours? And the correct answer is pretty much neither. And the main reason for that is because, when I sit down in a movie theater, the armrests kind of disappear. I'll let you kind of figure out how that David Blaine moment happens. But the fact is I'm just kind of like, armrests are like up here. So if I got a girlfriend over here, then yeah, that's the armrest is over there. But yeah, the armrest thing, yeah, that they don't really exist at all. So both. Anyways, what is my favorite cereal? And because I think that's kind of a good question for this, because this is a very cereal based podcast. Like, hopefully you guys are already like on the second bowl of cereal, for the love of God, as long as this has been going on. But I would say my favorite cereal is basically going to be anything unhealthy. I really don't have a real preference. I would say Cinnamon Toast Crunch is usually a pretty solid one. Captain Crunch, if you feel like you got a strong roof of your mouth. But if you want something like Bran, get that freaking crap away from me. I mean, who wants Bran? There's like a Cracklin and Bran thing that we have at our store, and it's just, I don't know who the heck wants it. It looks like pretzels. It looks like pretzels and some burnt flakes in a bowl. And then you just add milk to it? I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't. I don't know who eats that. The one thing I will give to people, though, is like, if you want something like Wheaties has a good reputation. Cheerios is good for your heart, or yada, yada, yada. I'll let those slide. But for the main thing, like if it has chocolate, or if it's very sweet, like a Frosted Flake, love Frosted Flakes, or if it has marshmallows in it, Lucky Charms, then yeah, I'm probably going to go for anything like that. But I would say Cinnamon Toast Crunch is going to be my main go-to. Is a hot dog a sandwich? And this one is kind of a trick question, okay? Because yes and no. If the bun is kept together, then that is not a sandwich. But if you got one of those cheap store brand, and you know exactly what I mean, the store brand hot dog buns that just kind of fall apart, it's just two pieces of freaking bread, that is a sandwich. You got a piece of meat between two buns. The buns are no longer connected. That is a sandwich, okay? It's all dependent on if you got the good buns. If you got the good buns to stick together, hot dog is not a sandwich. But if it breaks apart, or if you voluntarily break it apart, it comes a sandwich. And there's no disputing that. That's the end of that argument, okay? I'm not going to accept any other answer for that one. And then, if animals could talk, which would be the rudest? And honestly, this is just a simple answer. It's the honey badger. I mean, anybody who has ever seen a documentary on a honey badgers just do not give a flying fuck about anything. And it's funny. Like, it's funny. I have something going on in my eye. But they do not care. They will go right up to a lion and just be like, oh, come on, what you gonna do? You gonna kill me? And it's just funny. It's funny as hell. Because they do not care. I don't know how in the heck they do not care, but they would tell you to F off in an instant. That is just what a honey badger would do. They'll tell you to your face, yeah, those pants make your ass look fat. That is what they're gonna do. I mean... Oh, honey. Yeah, I could tell you just love those potato chips because they just went right straight to your thighs, girl. Like, that is what a honey badger would do. Muffin top alert. Like, I'm just saying. That is what a honey badger would freaking do. They do not care about your feelings whatsoever. And they would be a riot to have an open mic night. So, that would be absolutely hilarious. Hopefully one day we will have the technology to make it so that way we can hear a honey badger or a cat or a dog. Like, that's the ultimate goal. I would love to be able to talk to my cat and figure out what the truth is and what they think about me. But that's not going to be today. That is definitely not going to be today. So, next segment, though, that is it for Q&A. Please, if you do have any questions for me, please at me at Boredom_Nation on Twitter with any questions that you have. You can use the hashtag fat and happy. Why not? But that is going to be it for that segment with the Q&A. Absolutely love Q&A. Absolutely. I like having fun with like changing questions and mixing them around. But we got to get to the interview. We got to get to the interview. So the interview with Ben Hunter, like I said, was already pre-done. I don't feel like I captured the true tone of what I want this show to be. I want it to be a little bit more comedy than I think I really did. But at the same time, with this, I wanted to focus on getting the people's perspectives on life and like what they really do. So it will have more of a serious tone. So maybe it might not be your thing, and maybe this is the only part of the show that you actually care for and you actually enjoy. But if you do care to learn a little bit about some of these people, I definitely recommend you to stick around. And then I'll have my little outro segment there at the end. But this is the interview I had with Ben Hunter. All right, so next on the Fat and Happy Show, we do have our first inaugural guest here on the show, which I think it was only fitting to have him back here onto the show because originally he was going to be the main actor, co-host, whatever you want to consider him in this. He's also, I guess, my best friend. It's Ben Hunter. But we originally started the podcast Fat and Happy way back last year.
Right.
And we didn't continue it at all.
No.
And I was like really hoping that we would, because I like had high hopes with it. It seemed like it was a really, really good title to play with and everything. And that's why I carried on the title to just changing podcast to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just something that I don't feel has really been properly done. So I want to see how it works. But I wanted to bring you on, okay? Because the one thing I want to have about the guests is going to be they need to have interesting stories. And you definitely have interesting stories. I've heard quite a few of them.
Interesting.
Oh, trust the freaking King Kong. Now, that was originally in the Simply Awesome podcast when we covered that one. Yeah. But later down the line, I will have you back on to tell that story here because I feel like it's going to give a little bit more traction here. We'll see how the show does. But if it gains traction, I definitely want that story on here because he's just funny. But the one thing that I mainly wanted to cover with you is that you are a pastor's son, okay? And you're not just a pastor's son, but you're a youth pastor's son. Do you think that being a youth pastor's son is different than just being a general pastor's son?
One correction. I'm a children's pastor's son.
Children's pastor, okay.
There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Children's pastor, he covers from like 0 to 5th grade.
Okay.
And then a youth pastor would be 6th grade through 12th.
Okay.
So.
Did your dad ever do youth?
He did, but very briefly.
Was that when you went on the mission trips?
No, that was when I was probably 9 or 10.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Gotcha. So is there a difference, do you think, with like how the kids are raised?
Not really. I wouldn't say so.
Okay. So you're kind of kept to the same standards of you got to make sure you don't act too out of line because you want to make sure that your family's image is
that for sure is definitely the same. The only difference I would say is being a children's pastor's kid. He's always doing something crazy, imaginative, so we get roped into those crazy things with him a lot of the times.
But I would say that's probably more fun than anything.
It can be. I remember one Easter Sunday where my mom was in red spandex as Mrs. Incredible at church.
Okay, that's... Okay.
So, just to give an example.
And, like, you guys are pretty much required to participate as well, right?
Yes.
In a lot of this.
Yes.
I mean, I remember your wife got caught into a chicken costume.
Yes, she did. That just came up on my time hop the other day.
But I was just thinking about that. Like, do you feel like you had to participate, or was it more of a choice? What would you say?
I mean, it was always a choice, but it was definitely preferred that we jump in and help.
Gotcha.
My life was easier when I helped.
And how many churches have you been a part of?
2, 3, 4. 7-ish.
Okay. So that
Somewhere
includes the new one that you're at right now. I'll take it.
Well, no, that one 8, I guess.
Okay. And then how many has your dad been a part of? Because I know of 3 for sure.
Well, just as many as I have.
Okay. But he's been a children's pastor at all of them?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was going to say, like, the freaking stories from Chicago. We need to tell those. Okay, from the freaking Chicago church.
Okay.
With the cart. Oh, God. Okay, is the cart still around?
The go-kart?
Yes.
Golf cart, sorry. Yeah, no, it's not.
Oh, it is not?
No, I sold it.
Oh, it is officially sold?
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
It was a sad day, but...
Oh, I imagine it had to be a sad day.
It needed to happen.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, I was hoping you still have pictures, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can still bring that up when we get to those. So, tell me, what are your thoughts on church in general? Do you feel like everyone should participate? Is it not for everybody, or how are you feeling like with general consensus of churches in general?
I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about that. Sometimes I feel like everybody should be a part of one. I mean, I'm not sure what book, chapter, or verse it's in, but it does say, "Don't forsake the assembly of believers." So, yeah, I mean, to some degree, you should be part of a congregation, a group, a family. More so for your benefit than anybody else's. I mean, just having a support system.
So basically, like, because I've seen a lot of times of where someone will come down on their luck, and then the church will gather together, and like they'll if it's a time of hardship with money, then they'll go ahead and make dinners for that person, or even do just like church donations in general, or they even come together a lot during Christmas time for families who can't do that much. Okay, so this is a question that I'm really curious to see how you answer. If you could go back in time and you could change how your dad thought, would you have rather have had him take a different career path, or do you like how everything turned out?
Would I have him choose a different career path? Yes.
Really? Where would you steer him?
Anywhere else.
So you think that the pressure and how much stress this job has caused, that he probably would have had a better time going a different route?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Now, on the other hand of that, though...
There's been a lot of positives that came out of it.
There has been a lot of positives, and I realize that this is God's call on his life, and if he did anything else, he wouldn't be in God's will.
I would say the amount that your dad has done for every single church that he's gone to has been just astronomical. Mm-hmm. Because, say this does take off, I do want to have him on, whether it be like through a Skype call or in person, because he's got stories to tell. You don't really think about the children's and the youth pastors and anybody like that. You focus on the pastor. You think about like what they do behind the scenes, but you don't really focus on these guys and how much pressure they're under, because of how much creativity they have to be spontaneous about. Because you showed me the spontaneous creativity that he had to do for a summer camp, of where a guy totally left and took all the material with him, and he had to come up with everything from scratch.
Yep.
And that's impressive. I mean, you had to do the video editing for it, which was a lot of fun. Like, I remember you kept on sending me all the different little clips here and there, and it was entertaining.
It's always something.
It's always something. So, I got a question about Christianity.
Okay. Shoot.
Do all dogs go to heaven?
No.
That's a trick question, okay? All dogs are good boys. I don't care who you are. They all go to heaven, okay? They are all good boys, okay? Deep down, even if it bites you, it didn't mean to. It was scared, okay? It's a good boy, and it will always be a good boy. Don't you dare say that, no, all dogs don't go to heaven. Which one would you claim doesn't go to heaven, then? A pit bull?
All of them.
Oh, this is starting a war here. So are you saying that only human souls get into heaven?
Yes. That is my firm belief.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? Scruffy and Spot are not going to be waiting for you at the gates, okay? They're just going to be meeting you in the ground.
Dog's dead. It's dead. It's gone.
Do you want to tell the story about what happened to the cat that passed away back in Chicago?
Wow, which one?
The Chinese.
Oh, no. They didn't pass away.
Oh.
They were just given to an animal shelter.
Oh.
Specifically the animal shelter that is located right next to the Chinese restaurant.
I thought they were passed away. I thought that's where your dad took him. Oh, okay. Well, that makes them worse. That makes it worse. And the fact is that there's no exaggeration that this is a real place.
Okay.
Like right next to each other.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be.
I disagree, but I think it's perfect placement.
Now, here's one of the things. Now, continuing on this whole thing, who gets into heaven, correct me if I'm wrong, but you believe that anyone can get into heaven, anyone's accepted, so long as you accept the Lord, right?
As long as you believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, and he died and rose again to save you from your sins. You believe that? That's the ticket right there.
Gotcha. See, that's always been the one thing that's like strains on my mind. Like, I like that idea, but the one thing I hate is that anybody could like murder, rape, whatever the hell they wanted to do. They could cause a mass genocide. But as soon as like they have that 1 year of sitting in jail waiting on death row, and then they can suddenly change like that no matter what they did, nothing comes back to punish them. That's the one thing I've hated.
It's not that there's nothing that punishes them. I mean, the penalty of sin is death. We all die. But Jesus died so that you could be resurrected like him.
I have a really, really random question because I forgot to offer you. Would you like a bowl of cereal?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. So, you got quite a few choices here on the table, and let's see which one you pick. You got Captain Crunch, you got Crunch Berry, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cookie Crisp, Corn Flakes, Frosted Flakes. Oh, wait a minute. The Frosted is Honey Bunches of Oats, by the way. You got Oatmeal Squares that are cinnamon flavored. You got Total Whole Grain. You got the Churros, and you got the Peanut Butter Cocoa Planets.
I'm going to lean like a churro.
Okay, you're going for the Churros. I totally, absolutely agree with this call.
I've never had them.
No, you've never had them.
Nope.
You're going to be surprised by this one. Now, the one thing is I'm keeping Total on the table, and I'm going to keep it on the table until someone chooses it. But the first person that chooses Total, they're going to lose a lot of cool points.
Hey, don't talk crap about Total. Okay?
Or Colgate.
No,
The one with harder control. Now,
also, you have to eat whatever I eat.
No, I can have whatever, but I'm going to agree with you on this one. That the churros are just very, very good.
I think you should have to eat whatever I eat.
Oh, well, don't choose Total next time. Also, we drink whole milk in this house, by the way. That includes me and the cats. Whole milk is the only way to go if you want a whole spirit in your life. And there you go.
Thank you. What's the proper way to do this? Do you pick it up and eat it, or do you keep it on the desk? I guess you're picking it up. So.
I'm picking it up. I don't know. Because I'll put it this way. I got a lot here, so leaning over a table really isn't my forte.
Fair enough.
So, like, it just doesn't work that well. Like, if I'm going all the way over here, it's like, holy shot. It's not pretty. It takes a lot of energy. Like, I'm burning more calories doing that than I am getting from the cereal.
I mean, that's what you should do.
But then it wouldn't be a fat and happy show.
Fair enough.
So, we gotta focus on being fat and happy.
This is good.
I know, this is really good.
I don't know if it tastes like a churro because it just occurred to me that I have never had a churro.
I know. Wait. You have been to Disney World many a times, but you have never had a Disney World churro.
Nope. I use my snack credits on what's important.
Mickey bars.
That is the Mickey bar.
Now, I've done a lot of research on Disney World myself, and personally, I think that there's a lot better stuff than the Mickey bar, especially since you can get them in stores now.
False.
At your local Walmart or any retailer. There it is. Any retailer that has Nestle products.
Fake news.
You do not think that they compare.
Nope.
Because originally, the first one that you have had, you thought was.
They're good. They are good. But it's not the same.
Okay. I think part of the flavor is that hot day.
Could be.
Because it's always hot in Disney World. It's always usually pretty good. Well, actually, you go during November, so it's probably a little bit more mild.
It is.
But it's,
I think the chocolate's different.
yeah, I would agree with that one. Also, probably they put a little bit more vanilla in those.
And let's not forget the magic.
Yeah, the magic is a very, very special ingredient that does not get packaged in a box.
That's right.
But,
Just doesn't. And they're bigger at Disney World.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. Like, everything that I've seen about Disney World and their food and their portions, it's absolutely astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing with Disney World, though, is that there is a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you go? What is your go-to for a sit-down meal, specifically?
For a sit-down meal?
Sit down.
See, I've only done this once with the sit-down, with the meal pass.
Right.
So, honestly, the one that sticks out in my head the most is Rainforest Cafe.
The Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah.
You mean something that's available in a
Yes.
lot of towns around the world, not just exclusive to Disney World.
Here's the difference.
Okay, I'm listening.
The meal pass, you get what you want,
Right.
whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
on the menu.
Right.
So you get the most expensive thing on that menu.
Correct.
Normally, I wouldn't do that.
Uh-huh.
Never have.
Right.
That was a good meal. I got
But
the
it's
move-
Rainforest Cafe. There's so many other places that you could go to.
There was a good African buffet we went to, which was pretty good. I don't remember what it's called though. It's in Animal Kingdom. We had that for lunch and then Rainforest Cafe for dinner.
Okay.
And the other place, really, honestly, those are the two meals that I remember.
Where did you have breakfast with Pooh? Because you had that for Remy.
Yeah, it was in Magic Kingdom, but like I don't even remember what I had. Like,
Really? See, that's a bummer to me because you would think that you'd be like all these would like really stick in there.
I think the main problem is that when I went that time, I was gluten free, and so like I was so limited on my choices no matter where I went.
They've improved a lot. They improved this last year a lot.
They have, but at the time it was
Right.
which they still did everything they could to accommodate. You know, and it wasn't a bad experience by any means.
Yeah.
But I know my parents went to a seafood place, a seafood buffet. We went to the African buffet because to do the meal pass, like you have to plan these out like months and months in advance.
Yeah.
And the restaurants fill up so fast. The reservations for them. And they could only get half of us into the seafood and then half of us into the African buffet.
Gotcha.
So, I guess we got the short end of the stick on the food, but ours was a character meal, theirs was not. So we went for the characters for the girls.
Gotcha.
So,
Which I definitely think that you gotta love the character meals there.
mm-hmm.
I don't know that I personally would. Like, a lot of people have like come out and kind of joined me with the whole thing that people in costume just kind of freak you out because you're just like you're being fake. It's kind of like I know that that's not you. I know that's not you. Okay, this is not freaking like. Give me one like any freaking. This is not Tigger. This is not freaking Tigger or Pluto.
Screw
I knew
Pluto.
that would get your reaction.
Screw that hellhound.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to... You should probably elaborate on why.
I give my book to Goofy to have it signed. So really, this is kind of Goofy's fault too. But I don't hate him for it. He passes my book down the line to Pluto. I don't want Pluto's signature. I'm only letting certain characters sign my book. I'm picky. I think Pluto's dumb. He can't talk. Goofy can talk. He's a dog. Why can't Pluto? Well, because he's stupid. That's why. And you know what he did? He signed my book anyways. He can write, but he can't talk.
See...
Ridiculous.
I feel like they shouldn't be able to... For Pluto, does it say Pluto?
I don't know. I ripped the page out after he did it and threw it away in front of him.
Was there anybody on the back page? Did anyone... Okay, so no one suffered consequences. Okay. That would have been a damn shame. But I feel like it should have just been a paw print. Like, I feel like he should just have like a stamp like on his paw already, just ready to go, and then he has like a pad down here.
And I might have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Might have been okay with that. Probably not, but maybe.
Just to add to the realism.
Yeah.
Because there's no magic. There's no magic with the Pluto signature. Because he's right. The dog can't talk. It doesn't mean it can write. But Goofy, I'm still kind of trying to figure that one out. Because, I mean, he's kind of a dog too. But it's
he's like a dog.
It's like an evolved dog. It's weird. But I'm not going to complain because I love the Goofy movies.
Goofy movie is the best Disney movie.
Wait, Goofy movie or Extremely?
No, Goofy movie.
Okay.
The original.
Agreed. The only thing is I wish that they would have done more with Powerline.
Agreed.
Because, I mean, did he ever branch out from that?
No. And, I mean, he is the greatest rock star on the planet.
Yeah.
So
just, I don't know why they had to take it off of Spotify. The nerve. This is why I like cereal. It's because if you don't have anything to say for a second, you can just... and then you're back to being happy again. And also, like... I can't remember what it was. But if, like, I think one of my saying... I can't remember what it was. But it was along the lines of if someone's bitching, feed them. Because they can't bitch with their mouth full. So if I'm ever bitching at you, just give me food. I mean, you take like, say your woman doesn't know where she wants to eat. How often does that happen to you? I know. I know the pain too. I know the pain. I didn't know the pain, but I know the pain now. Because we're trying to figure out, do we want Pizza Hut or do we want Papa John's? It took like 10 minutes to figure out where she wanted to go. And then from there on, we actually went with the opposite decision because there wasn't any good discounts.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's the first stop now. We look at the discounts first.
Yeah, we learned. But that was entertaining. But I mean, you just go to a buffet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing but food there. There's nothing but options. You want a burger, babe? You go up to that burger bar. Except the only stupid thing is around here, there's nothing. You got to go all the way to freaking Big Town over there to go to a freaking good buffet to make it worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. There's a good one in Goshen. A good Chinese restaurant in Goshen. It's a buffet.
I have heard about this, but I've not actually gone.
Yeah, it's good. We used to go there for...
Have you ever gone to the one in Columbia City?
No.
Get this. So. They have mozzarella sticks.
Wait, there's a buffet in Columbia City?
Chinese.
Or just a Chinese restaurant?
Chinese buffet. Very big buffet. And I was actually very satisfied with it. Like, we went there on...
Interesting.
We went to... Pick any day out of the year. When did me and my parents go? This should be really easy.
St. Patrick's Day.
No.
I don't know.
Because think about it. If there's no other options, then that's the last resort.
Christmas Eve.
Close.
Christmas Day.
There you go. We went on Christmas Day, okay? We did the freaking Christmas Story. And we went ahead and went in there. And we were kind of expecting to get a duck. It's smiling at me.
We do that every year. Not on Christmas Day, but on Christmas Eve.
You go to a Chinese buffet?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say,
but
we think that we're going to make that a traditional thing because it went over really, really well. It was like a lot of people were there, but like we didn't know this was a real thing.
Yeah, so Christmas Eve, my dad always has to do Christmas Eve services.
Oh, okay.
So we never got out of church till real late, and the only thing open was Chinese restaurant. So it just became a thing.
Oh, okay.
So probably started when I was, I don't know, junior high. We still do it, and I'm 27.
Oh, sure. But yeah, that's. But seriously, that buffet has mozzarella sticks. Like of all things, they have mozzarella sticks. Do you know how many helpings of mozzarella sticks I had? 3 helpings. 5 sticks apiece.
Oh my god. That's a lot of cheese.
They're over here. Just saying. That, and then you had a freaking chicken on the skewer. You have the sweet and sour. You have the General Tso. They had a honey barbecue chicken there,
You're talking
too.
about the rat on a stick?
Yes.
That's what we call it.
I know, it's so good, though.
It is so good.
I mean, it doesn't look good, but it is good.
Yeah, it's chicken. It's definitely chicken, but
It's not chicken at all.
It looks like a rat.
The other things are chicken. They're ground up pieces of nugget chicken that like even McDonald's turned down, but it's still good because it's in the sauce. And their sauce is always amazing. And then you have French fries, and the French fries were surprisingly good. I don't really know why.
It's so weird. I didn't go to a Chinese restaurant. I never try the American options.
You never do.
No, I'm never that guy.
What about shrimp? Because I feel like shrimp is borderline.
Shrimp's fine. You can have shrimp.
Okay.
You don't ever turn down shrimp.
Do you finish it off with a Chinese donut?
I don't anymore.
Oh, right.
Gluten free.
What about a cone?
Can't have them either.
Well, you can have an ice cream cone. You can only go so far.
Well.
But, well. Actually, I just kind of realized that you just had a bowl of gluten.
I did.
What's that?
It was good. It was worth it.
I know. It is really good. The bad thing is that it gets a lot soggier than I thought it did. Like, a lot faster.
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's like, it tastes exactly like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but with a different texture.
Yeah. It's just thicker.
Rounder.
Yeah. It's got a tip. But I don't know how's the ice cream. I said ice cream. I said, how's the milk? It's actually delicious.
Is it cinnamon milk?
Yeah, that's actually really good. Like, a lot of times I cannot finish the milk because it just gets... bleh.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I like Nesquik cereal way back in the day. Love Nesquik cereal because...
I forgot about that.
I know, right? It's a millennial thing.
It is.
But it always made the milk chocolate milk, and I was just... It was never the same, but as a kid, I really never realized it.
You know what I want? Cream Saver.
Oh.
They're not around anymore. They're gone.
I know. It was probably about 2 or 3 months ago. I searched for those things. And they just...
They're gone.
And I don't know why they left.
I don't know either. I bought a ton
and
of
what's
those.
what's the favorite flavor? Say it on count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Strawberry cream.
Yeah, okay. That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's tragedy. It's just a freaking tragedy. You know, I brought you in here to talk about being a pastor's son. We went to Disney World. We went to freaking Cereal Land, and now we're freaking ending here. Like, that is going to be this show. It's going to be a bunch of tangents. Is going to be what it is. But if you guys have any questions for Ben, do be sure to leave it. If you're on YouTube, check the comments, or not the comments, check the section below for where you can email and all the social media links. And then if you're listening on Spotify, you can find him at... Do you have a Twitter handle?
Benjamin08, I think.
I was going to say, I'll find that really quick. You're also on YouTube, but you haven't really uploaded much, so we won't really give him that. Yeah, you are Ben, BEEN _Jammin08. And that is the Twitter. And then you can email me. Actually, I don't even have an email set up yet. So just get on YouTube and just find the links. You'll know where to find stuff. If you truly want to ask more questions or to have him back onto the show. But it was nice having you on. Hopefully you are a little bit more fatter and happier now. And thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.
So there we go. That is the official first ending of the Fat and Happy Show. which I'm very, very happy with. I think that this is a really, really cool thing. I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see if it takes off at all. I'm going to be interested to see how I edit this and see what comedy elements that I add to it. We'll see what happens. Maybe there will be some YouTube exclusive things that happen in the video. I don't know. Maybe not. But regardless, that is the end of episode 1, and I'm pretty happy with that. And there's my co-host. He showed up at the end. How's it going? Yeah, you're supposed to be the co-host on this thing. Yeah, you just rub up against that microphone. But regardless, though, hopefully you guys thought of maybe a couple critiques for this show. I know a lot of people it seemed like it was kind of hyped, and I hope that people are still kind of hyped about it. But if you're not, then I don't blame you. But if you are hyped about it still and you got some suggestions on what I can do to try and spoof this thing up a little bit, just let me know. And I will probably see you next week. Hopefully, I think that's probably not going to have an interview. It's probably going to be like a skit or something. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Regardless, though, that is a cat tail that is right in the middle of the camera. You're so cute. So cute. And I will see you guys back here next week for another episode of the Fat and Happy Show. Stay fat and happy, everybody. Good night.